This half hour of our Talk to the Experts program is brought to you by Trusted Saskatoon, and this is the time, of course, when we bring in an expert or two, but today we have a bevy of experts that have joined us here, and of course we're joined first off by Sarah Wheelwright, who is the owner, the person who came up with the idea of Trusted Saskatoon, and she's brought along some of her favorite clients that we're going to be talking to over the course of this half hour. Good to see you again, Sarah.
Hi, Brent. How are you?
I'm well. Just saw you a couple of weeks ago as you were in doing a program along with our folks from Jabba Construction.
I'm a big fan of the show. So.
Okay, well, we're a big fan of what you're doing, and I know your website, Trusted Saskatoon. I check it out, and boy, the amount of people you've got on there now, and it continues to grow, and I think the premise behind Trusted Saskatoon is something every single person listening can be drawn to, because we all want to find the right person to do that job, and as your name says, it's somebody we can trust. Tell me about how you got the whole idea and what exactly Trusted Saskatoon is all about.
Well, as you know, Brent, I'm not your typical Canadian. I moved over here in 2006 from England, and I'd lived around the world and lived independently. You know, I was grown up when I came over here, but I'd never kind of moved for life somewhere before. So coming and setting up home was a challenge. I mean, it was exciting, but when you don't know anybody and you're trying to find everything, I mean, I didn't come over with a big container with knives, forks, spoons, beds. I mean, everything had to be, found out. And I really thought that Canada was very similar to the UK. You speak kind of the same, and but actually a few funny words like aluminium, but. But, when I actually started looking into things, dentistry is different, insurance is different, financing's different, the banking system's different, thankfully, and also kind of there's things I'd never bought before, like I'd never bought a bed before, which is kind of weird. I'd never bought window coverings. I'd bought houses that had them there. So, I didn't really have any experience. So I was really looking for advice, and I looked where I always go, which is online, and Googled, and there just didn't seem to be anything with anybody apart from review sites, which I wasn't really sure. Was it the companies reviewing themselves? Was it competitors doing bad reviews? So I really kind of struggled and asked around, but I mean, people didn't know me from a hole in the wall. So the people that they were recommending to me, they were closer than they were to me. Yeah. So they might like that person, but that doesn't mean that they're very good at what they do.
Right.
And a lot of the smaller companies can't afford to keep up with the big box stores to get heard. So the local family-run independent companies that put all the hours in and really kind of work on service and work on, relationships, which is what I like to deal with the business. I didn't know where they were. I either didn't listen to the radio station they were on, or I didn't read the newspaper, or I wasn't going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages back on Google to find them. And I thought it was a shame, and I thought there was something missing for the public as well as for the businesses doing a good job.
Well, and talk about great timing. The way the city of Saskatoon has just exploded here over the past couple of years. If you've been fortunate enough to live here for 20 years or so, then yes, some of those individuals or companies that have been around that long. But there's so many new businesses starting up, and you have no idea what their track record is. Somebody's looking for a contractor, somebody's looking for a realtor. There's so many choices out there. So to have that central base to go to that you find at Trustedsaskatoon.com, I think a lot of people would feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, and I think we are kind of breaking through the cynicism, which actually now is more in the business community than it is in the public forum. The business is like, oh yeah, it's cash for endorsement. Well, it's not. I mean, there's plenty of businesses that have been turned down. There's businesses that haven't remained with us for one reason or another. And, I think that, what we're doing here is we're providing a service, and it's really probably the most in-depth kind of service. And all the stuff that you should do when looking to engage the services of anybody, we do for you. We do that running around, and it takes a lot of time, which is why we are restricted to the number of businesses in each category, and why we just limit it to a certain number of categories, because we have to do our due diligence. We have to follow up. Every year, I mean, renewal has just come around for the first year of Trusted on May 30th, and the partners that were on are kind of renewing, and we make sure they go through the same process. So Marla and Ken and Leanne here will have to provide us with some more references from the last year. Let's make sure that you're still doing a good job. I mean, they all are. We know that. We keep in very close contact. We meet up at least twice a year at networking events, and also I kind of send emails and hassle them a bit about kind of giving information to me.
Sarah Wheelwright is the owner of Trustedsaskatoon.com, and I think that's the solid message you need to get out there and let people know is these clients, these people that are on Trusted Saskatoon, haven't bought their way on. You do due diligence. What's the process?
Well, firstly, everybody that's on there has come there for a reason. So they've either been nominated, like Ken and Leanne, or I actually used Marla's services myself, and as have friends of mine. So that's why they were approached. From that point, they have to provide 25 clients' names and numbers. We then call between 5 and 10 randomly.
Oh, really?
And some people handpick the clients because they perhaps want to get one job from this and one job from that, or whatever. A lot of people just give us the last 25 people they dealt with, or they just give us their database and pick your own. And we're looking for great. We're looking for outstanding. We're looking for, they go over and above. We're not looking for realtors that go to Arizona in the winter. We're looking for people like Marla who pick up the phone, on a weekend, whether or not she's got a little son in one arm and the phone in the other. And the same with Ken. I mean, he when he told me his schedule, I was amazed when I went to see him. He kind of comes in from work, he does some stuff, and then he eats, then he goes to bed, then he gets up at something like 4 o'clock in the morning to do quotes for people. And then he's ready to go at 6 in the morning. Like I think I work hard and I look at Ken. And Leanne, I mean, Leanne's kind of there, and she's a single mom. She works hard, and she's kind of so artistic, and just they find it difficult to, differentiate themselves. I mean, there's hundreds. How many realtors, Marla? 500? Yeah. So how do you choose? So we really do kind of go use our due diligence and really go find the good people.
Trustedsaskatoon.com, Sarah Wheelwright. And now we should introduce these other three people that you've been referring to here over the past few minutes. And we'll start off with Marla Jansen, who is a realtor with Century 21 here in Saskatoon. Nice to see you, Marla. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to see you. Thanks.
You have the honor of being the first ever trusted partner with Trusted Saskatoon. And I understand you'd never really done or needed to do any advertising in your line of work, yet you didn't hesitate to sign up with Sarah and Trusted. What made you make that decision?
Well, for myself, I've been in business now here for just about 8 years, and I too was in the same kind of circumstance. I came here, I'd moved from BC, and I really didn't know a whole lot of people. So I was in that same boat kind of as Sarah, maybe not to the extreme, but I had to kind of search those things out when I bought my first house, and I did certain things here as well. I had never done any kind of advertising because I never felt the need. My business picked up really well, and I've pretty much been referral based for almost all my clients for probably the past 5 years or so. So I really haven't had to spend any money out there, and that wasn't why I opted in with Trusted. It was because the premise and the way that they run their business is how I run mine. Like, I am very client service oriented, and that's kind of my number one focus, and that's basically what they promote, right? By doing all the reference checks, by making sure you're qualified and that you're keeping up with a higher level of customer service, which I feel that every person deserves.
Definitely. When you go to Trustedsaskatoon.com, the website, you will see the list of different categories on the left-hand side. Look for Realtor, and you'll click there, and you'll see Marla Jansen and her photograph and a description of the work she'll do. But it's interesting because, as you say, up till signing on with Trusted Saskatoon, you had relied on references, people's telling other people what great work you did. Well, that's really what Trusted Saskatoon is all about on a grander scale, isn't it?
It is. It's kind of, it's really kind of just moving that word of mouth faster, because word of mouth's great, but it's the slowest way of transferring information from person to person.
Well, you're using the magic combination now of radio and then the internet with that fabulous website you've got, and getting the message out in a big way. So, Marla, I've got to ask you, the big question, though, is there may be business owners, someone listening to this program right now, who are looking at Trustedsaskatoon.com, thinking about it. Has it worked for you?
Absolutely, it's worked. And, it kind of does set me apart from other realtors in our city. When you have a couple hundred realtors in your city and only 3 can actually be trusted realtors in the city, right there, it sets you apart. I use it in my promotions. I have it on my website. And when I'm sitting there and I'm competing maybe to list somebody else's house, even though I am a referral, maybe from one of their friends, when I sit down and say, I'm not just trusted from one of your friends that they've passed their name along or a past client, I am a trusted business here. And this is why, and these are the criteria I adhere to. And I'm proud to stand behind my customer service. So I think it does give me that little bit of an edge.
Good stuff. Sarah, you do put a cap on each category.
We do, because we need to be able to monitor this. The stuff that we do is intensive. I mean, when we take the tips, and Marla is one of the best here for giving us tips and resources. I mean, I've done up to 50 blogs a month, and that's time intensive. And we have to check, things that are going on, and we have issues that we have to deal with. And, if we get into 500, 600, 1,000, 10,000 businesses, how do you do that? What happens is standards fail. So, as much as this is a business, and we pay our bills and stuff, and we spend an awful lot of money on advertising because we have to let the people know that we're around.
Of course.
You know, the focus really came from a point of need and helping people, and I think that's where we have to remain, and that's why we have, and it stops us getting greedy. You know, we have a cap. Stop now.
But when I go to Trustedsaskatoon.com, I see quite a long list of categories. Is that capped as well?
Yes, there's only 40. If we do have other categories represented, but they're the banner advertisements, things like home inspection, pest control, furnace and duct cleaning, things like that. And those we only have one. So because if we allowed banner advertisers, you know, we'd have 3 realtors in the sections, and then we'd have 55 realtors on the banner ads. And it's just not, you know, we're really trying to make it user friendly. That's the point.
Trustedsaskatoon.com is the website. Sarah Wheelwright is the owner. She's brought along 3 clients of Trustedsaskatoon.com. You heard us speak with Marla Jansen, realtor with Century 21. Stay with us when we return. We'll talk to 2 more of those clients on our Talk to the Experts for this half hour.